If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Action Pack Hour coming up. Rivalry weekend in Major League Baseball. We'll hit that in 15 minutes. Doug Kezirian in studio, bottom of the hour. He is heavy on the NBA, and the WNBA gets underway tonight and this weekend. He loves the sport. He fires like a banshee on it throughout the entire season. And, of course, we do have the playoffs on tap for tonight as well. High drama. Cancel your plans. Tell your friends to not contact you tonight, right? Watching the game, betting on the game. Celtics and Knicks playing at Madison Square Garden. Knicks leading the series 3-2. There is no Jason Tatum, as you all know at this point. And the Knicks, in some spots, did open up a 1-point favorite in this game after Wednesday's loss in Boston, and they were bet up immediately. And since that night, they have been a 2.5-point favorite, Pauly, in this game. Now, you like the game to go over. That's the trickiest part for me personally. It's 211.5, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
So far, how we've seen this series play out. Game 1, 108-105 in overtime. So it never should have gone over. And it did, depending on the number that you got, around 212.5, 213, maybe a push there. Game 2 stayed way under 211. Game 3 was 209 with a total, stayed under by a point. But then the last two games you've had, games go to the moon. Yeah. And they blew past the total.
Yeah, I think it goes over tonight, and I think the Celtics will continue to go up the tempo without Tatum and bombs away from three. Now, I'm not expecting 34 again out of White, but I think Pritchard has a big game. I think White can do enough, and the question is, what do you get out of Horford and Holiday, and what Jaylen Brown shows up as well? So he's had a horrible series for Boston, Mr. $300 million man, and can't count on him. And the other one is you just see the crazy adjustment with some props. They really bumped up Pritchard's numbers, the threes and the points. Uh-huh. The big move, the 70-cent move in the last game. He was also awesome in Game 3. And then they have dropped Porzingis to 6.5, under -130. Scored 1 point in the last game, and Mazzulla says he couldn't breathe out there. How many minutes will he play?
I just saw a video during the break. For what it's worth, I mean, he's not exactly super, agile out there on the court. He's standing there taking like open threes and shoot around, and he's knocking down quite a bit of them. Does that mean he's going to play tonight because he's feeling it and shoot around? I have no idea. But they made it a point to put video out there. Like, by the way,
can't play him.
The prop on him tonight was 7.5 earlier today. So even that has come down since then.
Yeah, I would not expect to get major minutes, and I think it's the big thing is you get that from Cornet again too. So there were two quick pick same game parlays I played plus 475. Pritchard over 13.5 points, over 2.5 made threes, and Jaylen Brown to go over 6 assists. And then there's a role player royale. Pritchard, OG, Bridges, and Hart all get 15. Big Al and Cornette get 10. 40-1.
40. Well,
I like it over. So I think these other guys, and Cornette was great. Horford played well. The KG veteran, can he knock down some shots? And certainly Hart's had a good series. OG will never shoot like that again. He was horrendous in the last game. And you know how I feel about Pritchard, and I'm with you. I think maybe they get a boost from Bridges tonight as well. But all the pressure's on the Knicks. All the pressure.
Totally agree.
This is awesome, where it's you lose this one, you go back to Boston, and then the fun really starts about blowing a 3-1 lead. And 2000 last time you made the conference finals. And at DraftKings, if you want, Boston 16-1 to win the title. I mean, you look around, they're 10-2 without Tatum. I guess they'd be favored against Indiana, and OKC is a mess right now. It's fascinating discussion.
Let me give you some breaking news before we continue with the playoffs. This is out of the NFL. Well, the 49ers have not won a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy yet. So they had this kid on the rookie contract, and the window was wide open for several years.
Oh, my God.
And now how much longer is that window going to be open? Because they have moments ago agreed to a 5-year, $265 million contract extension. $181 million in total guarantees, including $165 million in the first 3 new years of the deal that goes through 2030.
You can get a studio in Sausalito with that money.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably we'll still have to have a roommate.
Yeah, that's right. He had the roommate. Good call. Oh, boy, oh, boy.
So they did it.
I don't know.
There you go.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's your guy? That's a lot of cash for a guy.
Of
He was
freaking
bad.
money.
He was bad last year.
Oh, mamma mia. Okay.
Well, I hope it works out. It's a great story. Good for him.
I totally agree.
But that's
But now what happens to the rest of the team, because they had him on that rookie contract, and, man, they were power rated so high every year, and they made a run every year until last year.
there's a lot of people who seem to think he can just plug and play all these guys because they have so many weapons. And, the Sam Darnold hype when he was there as a backup and all these other guys. Brady could wind up there. Cousins could wind up there. Rodgers could wind. So he's disrespected. I know he almost won the MVP a couple years ago. But
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
With the easiest schedule in football, and they have it based on 2025 Vegas and other places with the win totals, they still have a great offense, a ton of personnel, great skilled players. It's a high number on Purdy to win the MVP this year against that weak schedule. I actually would have preferred a bet on him before the contract was made. Still hungry out there. Is he going to get it? Is he not going to get it? Now that the contract has been signed, I don't see this kid being somebody who's going to be fat and happy now that he's going to get all this money. I think he wants to go out there and prove everybody that he's still a really good quarterback, obviously. But as a starting quarterback with that, the win total's 10.5 with Shanahan as the head coach and that much help on offense, you can find a decent number on Purdy to win the MVP.
I like what Chernoff said yesterday about the similarities between the Rams and Goff and McVay with Johnson and Williams and the Bears.
Brilliant angle.
And everyone wants the Bears to do well and win games. First of all, the NFL with all the primetime and standalone games. And then it'd be quite the story after the book just drops and he was doing everything he could along with the family to get away from Chicago, where quarterbacks go to die, that this could work out and he could have a big year in Johnson. Did you read that? Did you read what he said? Caleb? He would watch film and there would be no instruction of what to do from the coaching staff. No one would tell him, here's your read. Ball goes here. Do this. It was worse than we thought.
You mean this was, I did not read
During
the story.
season.
I forgot to read it. It was with Eberflus last year.
And Waldron, and then remember, the father and the son said, I don't want to go there. We're not going to do anything with Waldron. Well, they nailed that. He says, we're not going to have any success with this guy. Right. He doesn't know what he's doing. Well, then he's like, I'm watching film, and no one's I'm watching film alone. And no coach is like, ball goes here, do this, bop, play, read this, read that, nothing. I mean, this is...
Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, there you go. That staff then should probably never be coaching ever again. Mm-hmm. And that also ties into, was it JSN with the Seahawks?
Yeah, when he asked if they were live on the air when asked about what he thinks of Waldron.
And he goes, good luck. Yeah. Basically, the guy is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
And it absolutely panned out that way. So there you go. Brock Purdy, 5 years, 265. I can't wait for the reaction on this tonight. People are going to rip this apart so much. They were mocking him a couple years ago when he was the favorite to win he was like a 230 favorite to win the MVP before that game against the Ravens 2 years ago. When he threw like a ton of interceptions. They got buried at home. I think that was on Christmas night.
Well, it comes with the territory, but I love how people look at it and react, and it's all about the quarterback, right? I mean, just look at the story with Carr. When you were out, Detillier was on. 95% of the callers and texts said good riddance when the news came down. He was the most polarizing player since all this time covering the Saints. And Carr played in one playoff game and made over $200 million.
Sure.
So at least this guy has got there. But Cousins, one playoff win? Carr played in one playoff game. Look how much money they've made. And I know this guy's got a lot of pieces around him, but
I would be very slow, and I have not done this through Brock Purdy's career to this point. I give the guy credit because we've also had other quarterbacks come in who are young with good landing spots who could never, ever make it work.
Well, Trey Lance was terrible.
He was Exhibit A. You're telling me that
Mac Jones couldn't play either.
That's exactly sure. But Trey Lance is the perfect example. I mean, people love the pick. They traded up to get the guy, and they were set up for major success on offense. And the kid looked like he was completely clueless out there. And yet this guy is Mr. Irrelevant. And it works basically from Jump Street, and people are like, yeah, but it's the personnel on the team. It's not him.
Yeah, but it looked better than when Jimmy was in there. They had They had more of an aerial assault and attack compared to Jimmy.
I would agree.
He couldn't even trust him in a championship game against Green Bay. It was all running the ball. So I'll give him credit there.
That's a lot of money, though.
Oh, forget about the $265. Look at the guaranteed money, and in the first 3 years. He'll be living by Sharon Stone, Basic Instinct out there with
Stenson Beach?
Stenson Beach, there you go.
What a drive that is, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll give you one here. You brought it up. You have to go visit Muir Woods at some point in your life. It's the end of the Planet of the Apes with all the redwoods and everything like that.
Did you ever see Tree Man?
It's incredible.
You ever walk down the street with Tree Man? My Uncle Roger ran into Tree Man.
Oh, I've seen video of him.
Yeah, the guy dresses up as a tree, and he comes down, he scares the hell out of you around the corner.
Kids, doesn't matter who you are.
You think it's a tree. It's a guy dressed up as a tree.
A lot of lunatics up there.
Yeah, right. I know, you're on Haight-Ashbury. I know what you're all about. Absolutely. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings, giving you insight and where the sharp action's landing. Circa takes huge bets from pro bettors. DraftKings gives a broader market perspective. I see Robin said 70% of their handles in play now. Incredible. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle on every game. VSiN.com/subscribe. Well, I told that story when we showed the video about, can you imagine if you lived on Lombard Street? Oh, how the hell are you getting out?
The parking there would be mission impossible almost every single day.
It's the number one tourist spot there. Well, I guess they're going to bring Alcatraz back, so you got that now, too.
But you got to go check out Lombard Street if you ever go visit.
Yeah, it's like, can you imagine? I got to run some errands. I got to get.
Hold on, give me 3 hours. I'll be back. I got to get out of here somehow. Up next, it's a full Major League Baseball card. Rivalry weekend. Great job by the sport. Bets that we're looking at tonight. Next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Final from Wrigley. Cubs over the White Sox 13-3. Pounded Chicago today. PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, awesome with a home run and 6 RBIs. So that number goes flying over the total. Very windy, and it was flying out today. And the other game, Guardians just went 1-2-3, top of the first against the Reds. No scores. They go to the bottom half. Good day to break out the home run tracker. Now, I'm kind of going against the whole idea of this with the numbers that I bet tonight, Pauly, but I'm on 2 guys for tonight. We'll call it half a unit each. I did bet Aaron Judge plus 215 tonight to go yard against McGill. Again, looking at projections tonight, how the ballpark is setting up, the matchup against McGill, it made sense to me to bet it. And the other one, you didn't bring up a guy in the Tigers-Blue Jays game earlier.
Who'd I miss? Torkelson, Baez, Green? Who'd I miss?
Now I'm blanking on the guy's name. How the hell you're blanking on the name? Now I'm blanking on the name as well. Jesus, I got to go back and double check. I got him at 3-1.
I'm looking at Machado.
Carpenter, that's the guy. My good Lord.
Okay.
And here's why.
He's been hot too. Yeah.
Francis for the Blue Jays, 2.59 home runs per 9. He's given up 12 on the year, and you like the over in the game. So do I.
Well, Flaherty's been terrible.
Terrible. And Francis, I think, has been worse.
Yep. Baez is 5-1. Machado's almost 5-1. Machado, during the 14-game hitting streak, hitting almost 500. 5 extra base hits. I don't mind him. And to play a little long ball as well.
Well, I think everybody's going to be betting Jose Altuve tonight because in his career.
Yeah. And Soto, too. They could do that, too. So
a little revenge there.
Yeah.
Although, is it revenge for him or is it revenge for the Yankees?
Well, it's more so to one. It's because everyone's going to be booing him.
Yeah, Altuve against Nathan Eovaldi, 16 of 52 in his career. That's a 308 batting average, 7 home runs. But again, I will warn people that he actually, well, maybe this is a good thing. I don't know. It probably is. 2 home runs in 3 different games against Eovaldi, which is very difficult to pull off. But it's not like he's played 10 games and he's hit a single home run in 7 of them. So, which I guess would be a little bit different. But and Ramirez flew out to left. Great numbers against Singer. And
12 to 22. Yep.
Yeah. Alex Bregman against Chris Sale. A couple of home runs career in his lifetime. Has good numbers there.
Yep.
And Lindor has hit Rodon quite well. 286 batting average, over 35 at-bats with 3 doubles and 2 home runs. I like to also, to tag along with the home runs, I like to look at doubles and attacking like the total base market that way. Because like Manny Machado recently in some of the matchups, he's had really good numbers, but it's almost all singles. Well, if you're going to bet over 1.5 total bases, then he's going to have at least 2 singles in the game, which he might do, but I also want to have a guy who's going to have a history here of doubles and home runs where if it's 1.5, like minus 110, a double gets the job done and you're good to go. All you need is that one hit in the game.
And there could be fireworks tonight as well with what San Diego and Machado could do. And then you have Arizona is 440 tonight at home to Colorado. Colorado undecided. Does it really matter? Burns against the Rockies. 2-20 on the road. It's the second worst run differential this time of the season since 1900. Minus 137. 440 with Burns.
I don't think it's high enough.
And May is 310. May's awesome at home. Suspect on the road. Dodgers against the Angels. Angels, second worst record in baseball since April 13th. Dodgers probably play home run derby again tonight. May 310.
19 runs last night. Ohtani hit 2 of them. They kept going yard. And to keep in mind, by the way, the Angels' bullpen is right there with the Nationals as the 2 worst in all of Major League Baseball.
Yep.
There's nothing really to like there. A's are taking on the Giants. It's Sears, who is a lefty, going for the A's against Logan Webb, who has been terrific this year. 2.60 ERA with a 1.98 FIP. He doesn't allow home runs, only 0.33 per 9, and he's striking out more than 10.5 batters per 9. But I will say this. Remember, the Giants have been great for the most part all year long at simply winning games when the opposing starting pitcher is a right-hander against lefties on the year. They are like bottom 10, bottom 12 in the league at some of the most important metrics in all of baseball that you need with that lineup. They do not hit lefties well at all. And they have not been winning games against lefties for what it's worth either.
Twins? They do it again?
Small number against the Brewers.
Ryan's been good. 11 in a row. The Pens only allowed 4 runs in their last 39 innings pitched. During this run, 5.3 runs per game. They're second in ERA. Ryan's 2-0 with an ERA under 1.
Don't you think the number is kind of small? I mean, and
yes.
The Twins are a team that you want to be betting on right now, and the Brewers are kind of the exact opposite with their offense in a big-time funk.
Yes.
So.
A little surprised with that number, yes.
Yeah.
And how about, look at the Phillies. Suarez is 250 against Haney and the Pirates. The Pirates' pitching's been solid, but they can't hit. That guy's still keeping track of that, our listener. But 20 in a row, 4 runs or fewer. Club record. Only worse in the wild card era, the Marlins from a couple years ago, 23 in a row.
Well,
they did win 4-0 last time out. The starters' ERA is under 2 in the last 10 games. So they're getting the starting, but just no punch, no offense here.
No, I typically don't like to bet home teams to win by the run line because, in theory, they don't have to get that at bat in the bottom of the 9th and they can win the game 4-3. However, there is this with both of these guys being left-handed pitchers, Haney for the Pirates and Suarez for the Phillies. The Phillies are top 10 in WRC plus and WOBA against lefties on the year. The Pirates are bottom 8 in those 2 categories, and they also own the 3rd highest K rate against lefties on the year. So Phillies minus 1.5 is minus 15 cents, and I don't hate that tonight. I might add that to the portfolio, along with the Twins.
All right.
And here's the K-prop that I laddered tonight. It's the Nationals at the Orioles. Mackenzie Gore takes on Povich. Both those pitchers are lefties. Here's the deal with the O's against lefties on the year. WRC plus is 50. That's the second worst in Major League Baseball. The WOBA is 236. That's dead last. And they have the seventh highest K rate against lefties at 25.4%. Lefties on the year are 9-2-1 over their K prop for what it's worth against Baltimore. Gore struck out 8 against them on April 28th, and other lefties to go against Baltimore this year. Crochet had 8. Bubic had 8 his first start. Only 3 in his second start against them. Abbott had 11. Skubal had 11. And Rodon had 7. And again, I was looking at some projections and models on this game tonight. And just going off of one computer set of ratings, it seems more likely that Gore is going to be between 7, 8, 9, and 10 Ks than he would be below 6.5. So I bet him over 7.5 for a nice bet, and I laddered him up with smaller bets to 8 and 9. And
if you have Circa for a book, you can bet the Diamondbacks plus $1.10 to sweep the Rockies. They're $4.50 today. They're $3.50 tomorrow. It's Gallen against Marquez. I don't know who's going Sunday. That's plus 110. All those best bets from G-Bank. Get the G-Bank Visa Signature Card today. Most credit cards, street sports books, and gaming transactions as cash advances. That's even when you put your own money on the card. And G-Bank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees and gaming transactions right there, and you're earning 1% cash back rewards on eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions and 2% rewards on all eligible purchases. Apply now, vsin.com/gbank, vsin.com/gbank.
Great angle, Paul, because what did you say the number is tomorrow with Gallen going 350?
Yeah.
And if the Diamondbacks win tonight, that number is only going to go up. So I have Dollander against Kelly.
All right.
On Sunday.
Oh, boy.
So the Diamondbacks will be a gigantic favorite there. The plus 110 has to be better than a rollover parlay.
Mm-hmm. All right, check your Circa books. And how about Paul Bovey? He got a refund on his Porzingis props the other night because he didn't play in the second half. The sports book said, hey, okay, we'll refund the action.
Oh, okay, that's solid.
That's a new one.
I mean, you can never, I think it's kind of goofy when they do that all the time, but I would never complain if it's going to happen, Here, I'm going to do the math on that right now because they're 440 tonight. They're minus 350 tomorrow. Let's make Kelly, I'll be conservative here, minus 250 on Sunday. So
that is conservative.
Okay. A $100 bet on that would be, I'm wrong.
Well, he's not going to be 250.
Okay, so give me a number then. 350?
Yeah, he's been better than Gallen. Yeah, do 320.
Do 320. Okay. Because you're right. And if the Diamondbacks win the first 2 games, it's $1.07 then. It's plus 107 at that rate.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine. I think 250 might be really late on Sunday.
And especially what if the games is 14-2?
Yeah. What if the series begins like it did against? And by the way, at that point, if they win the first 2, you can always come back and take a little bit. You can probably take 1.5 runs at a plus number with the Rockies on Sunday.
Rory 1 over.
Oh, is that right?
Projected cut is 1 over. Rory just gave a couple back.
Oh, mamma mia!
He was plus 750 to miss the cut.
He was just down to 11-1 to win the whole thing.
Schauffele could miss the cut, 4-1. Hebert likely to miss the cut. Boy, oh boy.
Doug Kezirian on the program coming up next. We'll go heavy NBA, WNBA. Does he expect the Knicks to bounce back and close out the Celtics tonight in Game 6?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll go heavy NBA playoffs and the beginning of the WNBA season here with Doug Kezirian, cool enough to stop in, swing into the studio today here on a Friday afternoon. Known you for probably 2 decades now, and you have been firing on the NBA since day one. You love the sport.
Crazy as that sounds, I grew up in LA during the Showtime era, so I have older brothers. I never got to watch cartoons because I was never strong enough to hold on to the remote. They got power, and so you just grow up, and obviously Lakers were just such an easy team to like back then. And then I became a junkie, and then it became sort of a competitive advantage, if you will, in the media world because I was the only idiot watching 5 NBA games at once and go 3 deep off the bench for Charlotte and things like that. And so you just kind of, and it's crazy and it's a headache. It's a disaster. I love what Humans always downplays it. He's like, I tease him. I go, what would you rather bet? Like baseball in the summer or that, And it's just there's no answer. So some people, you don't have the stomach for it, and I don't blame them, to be honest.
Tough.
As I told Doug's mom, disappointment of the family.
Did she agree? That's the question.
But it's also, it's
The black
kudos.
sheep. Yeah, I wear it with honor. Black sheep.
But the Harvard doctor, lawyer, everything.
Hanging out in
his dog.
Vegas,
Yeah,
bachelor, gambling.
great.
That's not usually what the parents designed from the start.
She was great.
But who said the better life, though?
Yeah,
overall?
true.
Yeah,
Okay.
true. Yep.
So, do you have a strong opinion on what's going to happen tonight?
No, I just have a strong lean, if you will, to the Knicks. Where I'm in your guys' basketball challenge, and I have one more pick to go in the second round. And I thought the other day I was earmarking Knicks, and I just think all the pressure in the world. And Boston, I heard you guys earlier to begin the show, and I totally agree. You guys, it's very clunky offense with Tatum and Brown. Your turn, my turn, your turn. Now they're not better.
Right.
They're obviously not better without Tatum.
But you know what they're going to do every possession.
Right, but there's a
Where's
fluidity.
the mismatch? Where's Brunson? Where's Cat?
But the question is, in this game, obviously Boston Game 5, such a unique game. The Fallen Star, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The Knicks playing sort of tight, like, oh my God, we could actually win. We're up 3-1 and they don't have Tatum. So I understand how the game unfolded. The question for tonight, I think the number one question for tonight's handicapping is, what in Game 5 can actually carry over to Game 6?
Yes.
Right? I don't think Cornette's going to have this monster game. I don't think Brown's going to flirt with a triple-double. I don't think Derek White's going to hit his first 5 shots from 3, but I think he'll have a big game. I think it's Pritchard. Everyone in their world's on Pritchard. Mm-hmm. Usually that's a dangerous thing, but sometimes it also works. So I do think Pritchard will carry over. He's been the most efficient player on the roster in the entire series, except for if you count Cornette maybe. But he played 39 minutes last game. He looks for his shots. I think 15.5 now. The market's moved up. I do think that's sustainable. He had a bunch of shot attempts. He had usage. He had 23 earlier. I even like 30-1 to be the game's leading scorer.
Oh.
Worth the smallest little sprinkle there is. Highly unlikely. I like OG at 25-1 too. But Pritchard's the only play, like the straight wager I think is playable. But I do lean Knicks. It's all the pressure in the world, but I think they get it done.
Give me Boston up 7 at halftime. That is a lot of juice, which I would love.
I'd be with you if they didn't have Brunson. I think Brunson...
Yeah. No, but I'm saying from a just squeaky bum angle, you're right, all the pressure's on him. 25 years since conference finals up 3-1. They're going to blow this, no Tatum.
Right, but they have pedigree from college with Brunson.
Oh, sure.
Bridges,
He's awesome.
Tibbs
Yeah,
knows
but-
what he's doing. Obviously, he's got a ring as an assistant with the Celtics. I think they're going to be okay. I really do.
They've been in this spot before, though, and they bleeped the bed against Detroit. Couldn't close them out, had to do it on the road.
Right,
Detroit actually outplayed them for much of that series, and the Knicks have been better on the road than at home.
But it's also hard to win and cover 3 straight games, and they had taken both in Detroit. And Detroit's good. No, to your point, I'm not betting it, so it's a lean, right? But that's my rationale.
Anything on the total?
Yep.
No, I understand why it's gone up. I know you were on the over in the last game. That was smart. They're a worse defensive team, obviously they being Boston without Tatum, and a lot of more chucking and ducking. And I think New York does want to kind of run and gun, and New York's defense isn't that great. There's a tightness component that has me off the over, so it's over or nothing. I do think if it gets to 7, I'm on the under. I really do.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm saving one more bullet in my contest play. I'm waiting to see how this all plays out.
Okay, so for that game potentially, are you going to give any consideration in that final bullet that you have to the game on Sunday in the West?
Nuggets, if anything. I got to wait to get an update on Aaron Gordon's hamstring. That's the key for me. But it is crazy. I mean, look, this series is tight. When you think about the minus 900 or whatever series price it was, Denver could have this series in the bag. Now, game 1 was fluky. I get it. But the other games that they lost, they've covered 5 of the 6. Now, let's say the Aaron Gordon bank 3 doesn't go. And let's say they've covered 4 of 6. This clearly the market's wrong. That's why there's an adjustment for game 7. That's why it's 7.5, not 10.5 again.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. This brings back shades of Moneyball, right? How you perform against every other team in the league over 162 games is not how you're going to perform in baseball in a 5-game series. Here, how the the Thunder do with their deep bench and catching teams coming to OKC and road trips and all that stuff, very different than how Jokic is going to play in a series elimination game and the fact that he's unstoppable. We know that the playoffs are different, even going back. I mean, look at Paul Pierce and some other guys who can only play the 4 when he was with the Nets, play the 4 in maybe a playoff series, but not all 82 games. So Nuggets aren't going to burn Jokic into the ground. They're going to play DeAndre Jordan, X amount of minutes. The teams play the postseason very differently, and it's matchup driven. And I think there's something to be said about OKC not having the game experience.
Absolutely.
And there's counter moves as well. At the beginning of the second half yesterday, they started doubling SGA got the ball out of his hands, and you get a brick three from the far corner, and then Chet airballs a three. I mean, there's just all this other stuff going on. They're gonna throw wrinkles at everything right now, and I like the 7.5 points.
Yeah, Williams was terrible again last night.
Unbelievable.
And by the way, I thought it was 2 consecutive design plays. One was out of a timeout for Chet to take an open three. What the hell is that?
I tweeted last night, the only thing worse than him in this series is his haircut. And it's ridiculous how bad he's been. Oh, it's like, they point to these 13 boards. Yeah, after like those 2 games in Denver that landed 189 and 203 in overtime, and he's getting these bouncing rebounds. He did play well at times. He challenged some shots, but he can't shoot. I think he's literally 25%, 6 of 24 from 3 combined in the series. And he's almost at times unplayable, but there's no one off the bench you can play.
There you go.
Yeah, Case and Wallace and stuff like that. It's smart not to have him on Jokic, and obviously if he gets stuck on Jokic, it's not his fault. The guy's the best player in the world. But some of these guys have to deliver. Like Caruso in game 1 was great.
Yeah.
They need more of that. They just need more of that. They can't just sort of wait for SGA to win it for them. They're going to play tight. Even if they do win on Sunday, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. The extra day rest really helps Denver. Right. I've been saying play Strother. He's better than a banged-up Porter Jr. or a stupid Westbrook or a reckless Westbrook. We'll see how this plays out. But the Gordon hammy is certainly a significant sort of development.
I'm so disappointed in this team and the coaching staff because I don't think Denver has an all-time great player, but they're not that good. The whole world was lining up to and bet the Clippers in that first series, right?
But then they forgot James Harden plays for the Clippers.
That too, right? But then it's Porter's hurt. Westbrook's a liability. Gordon's hurt. Gordon didn't do anything. Murray's got the flu, and it's going 7.
And
how bad is game 1?
And they played
now?
one guy off the bench, double-digit minutes.
Too. That's right. They have no depth. This is right, and it's every other night.
But they know how to muck the game up, and then the refs and the home crowd. It's just the way the playoffs unfold.
Game one is so bad now to be up 9 with 2:40.
But the Nuggets caught a couple breaks. And then they gave away game 4.
How about
it's
this?
Been a wild series.
How about Denver wins game 7? Does OKC make a move for Freak?
Probably not, but you got to do something with those 9 draft picks. At some point, you can't just have shelf life and then waste your prime of SGA and things like that. Maybe they do. I think guys like Bruce Brown was so pivotal for a guy like Denver. Getting that veteran experience. Caruso's been a big asset. Maybe you need another guy who maybe starts and you replace Holmgren or you flip Holmgren. I mean, what's the ceiling on that guy? I mean, is he going to turn into Wemby Jr.? No. And people that tall usually have feet problem anyways. So
yeah. And then how about this? OKC wins a 4-point game tight the entire way. Books opened up the Thunder 270 against the Wolves. What do you do?
So that's what it's going to be. A guy DM'd me today. He goes, what do I do? He has 20 large on a futures ticket at the Thunder minus 175 to win the West. So I'm like, well, you can't really do anything. You can't start hedging. Maybe you take a little plus 175, but yeah. So I think the turnaround will be quick, even though the game 1's at OKC. I like the T-Wolves in this. There's a swagger to them that I think will be a sort of, so often the NBA playoffs, not always, often it's incremental, right? You got to get over the hump, things like that. Sure. We know that going back to the 80s and 90s with Jordan. Didn't go through the Celtics. He went through the Pistons. Everyone forgets that. I do think the T-Wolves, this feels like their year. And let's face it, I say this all the time. People think I'm joking, and it's kind of funny. Chris Finch had a broken leg last year in the he was behind the bench. Like, coach. If that didn't matter, then all coaches would sit behind the bench. Being out on the court, being able to shout at your players and orchestrate things matters. Yeah. He was not there. They had a backup assistant coach doing it. I think the fact that their head coach is healthy does matter. In the little fine difference makers of a series.
Also, there's this: the T-Wolves probably should at this point have 2 of the best 3 players in the whole series. And maybe the best 2, the way Randall's playing.
Yeah, if Williams isn't going to play like his potential, then of course.
Oh, he's been terrible.
Yep.
I can't believe it.
Giant disappointment. I think the other Jalen Williams has been. I'd be playing him over Chet. I'd be playing him over Chet. He's the right guy to play. He's like another Caruso, so to speak.
He's multidimensional. He can give you several different things on the court at the same exact time.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't have the rim protection, but he has other, and he bodies enough and keeps the strength. He's very good.
The number one guy they can rely on the bench right now, I totally agree with what you said about Caruso, is Case and Wallace.
Yeah. He knows his limitation. I mean, he knows his range. He attacks the rim great defensively.
WNBA with Doug Kezirian up next. We'll get his best bets for the opening weekend of this sport. And is Caitlin Clark's club getting too much hype? We'll ask him next.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, You know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More basketball here. Now the W as the season begins tonight and this weekend. Doug Kezirian with us here in studio. Not only do you love the NBA, but you've been firing on the WNBA for a long, long time as well. With it being opening night and opening weekend, is this something that you would generally attack in previous years, saying, "Oh man, I can beat the market. I know more than the books and everybody who's posting this stuff right now"? Or do you let it breathe for a couple of games before you really dive in?
So I really loved the card Friday when I was looking at it Tuesday, and then things changed. Kayla McBride's out for the Lynx. That certainly changes things. The numbers have moved. I got a piece of Atlanta -4 at Washington. I think it's 6.5 now because the injury report for the Mystics was alluding to that they're going to be shorthanded. It's 8 now. Yeah. I'm already under them 15.5 wins, and they had so many people not practicing. I just was like, what am I missing here? The problem with Atlanta is, and this was going to be my favorite win total, and it was going to be an over for Atlanta, but then their starting guard, Jordan Canada, got hurt. We don't know how long she's out. She's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. It looked bad. After 1 minute of her preseason, she got helped off the court. And they don't have a lot of point guard depth. And their new coach, who I like, he came from Florida Gulf Coast. They want to chuck a bunch of threes, but they have 2 bigs, including Brittany Griner. So it might take some time, and you need a point guard in this league. You absolutely need a point guard in this league. When point guards have come back from injury and they're short, and they're just teams improve drastically. So if you don't have that, they might run their offense through Ryan Howard, who's Rookie of the Year a couple years ago, and she's good, but I'd prefer her off the ball after a pass-first point guard.
Okay. So you let it breathe here for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like the numbers, and we'll see how Dallas responds tonight. I'm fading them this year, but they do have talent, and if they hit a bunch of shots, they're going to be a tough team to bet on or against all season.
Okay. The late game is L.A. against Golden State. Golden State comes in as the new franchise. I read where they want to play with pace, and then L.A. made the big move with Kelsey Plum with the trade. How do you handicap a brand new team?
Yeah, so it's kind of like the Mike Tyson thing. Everyone has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. Everyone has a plan until the regular season starts. The Valkyries are getting everyone's table scraps, and this isn't exactly a deep league like the NBA. When 2 starters are out, some guy can come off the bench and go for 40. Yeah. That does not happen in the W. They don't have that depth yet, so they get they're talking about Kate Martin. She was played 6 minutes and was a emotional leader for the Aces. She's not good. And to her to be their best player, they're going to have some serious growing pains. And the Sparks don't have Cameron Brink back, but I love what they did. But they still only won 8 games last year. So I think they'll win. I think they'll cover. I think the long game, Golden State might win some more games second half of the season because their coach is good. And they're going to put the right pieces, and they attack smart players. And eventually they're going to catch teams on back-to-backs, all that stuff. But I don't think out of the gates. It's going to take some time for sure.
All right, the hype train for the Indiana Fever now has been off the rails, I think, for, it won't stop. It's completely nuts. The numbers to me are unbettable, but you are buying in, right? You think this team could be
the one-way markets are unbettable, right? Caitlin Clark, you can't bet her at plus 200 to win MVP. Plus 300 to win the title. You can't. She's getting the Tiger Woods treatment when it was one-way markets in golf tournaments in his prime. And that's okay. I talked to an odds maker. He's like, yeah, in a vacuum, they'd be a little bit longer odds, but they wouldn't be 10 to 1. They'd be 5 to 1. So they're still a legit championship threat. They had an awesome offseason. They are loaded. They're going to start 4 All-Stars from a year ago, and their other starters going to average 17.6 points per game last year. And then they have a couple people off the bench, 3-and-D players, and they all know their role. And then Caitlin Clark, let's not forget, they struggled out of the gates last year. They had 11 games in their first 20 days. Started 2-9. It was ridiculous scheduling. That was on the heels of playing the championship game, and then the hoopla with the draft. So she took off the Olympic break, did not go in the Olympics, did none of that. Hard reset, and she was awesome. She averaged 24.5 points. They closed 18 and 11. The end of the season, she averaged a bunch of points, carried that team, got into the playoffs. She's just going to take another giant step forward. She may win MVP. I just wouldn't bet it at plus 200. The question is how good are they with all these pieces? They brought in veterans. I think the offense will click. They have a new coach. The other one was overwhelmed and kind of clueless at times. They have one with championship pedigree. Everything is right for this team. And as we know in the NBA, some teams take the regular season a little too seriously, like the Cavs this year. Grizzlies did for a couple years in recent memory. I think the Fever are going to be that team. They're hungry. I think they might end up with the 1 seed. I really do. So I like 30.5 or 31.5 wins over. It's a 44-game schedule now. When you compare past records, it was a 40-game schedule in the past. And with the expansion team, like there's 5-6 teams that are pretty bad that the Fever really should not lose to at all.
Okay. Your best bet at DraftKings is a Clark prop.
This should be minus 500.
Really?
It's minus 145. It is, will she have 15-plus double-doubles in the regular season? Okay? First of all, she could get them with rebounds. Her first 2 double-doubles last year were with rebounds. Now there's better frontline court, so maybe let's just say she doesn't. But if she's sitting there with 9 rebounds and there's a carom off a free throw, they're going to let her get it. Like they're not, they want attention, right? So she closed the year with 12, in her final 22 games, 12 double-doubles, all assists. Okay. And how many videos did you see last year of teammates dropping passes and things like that? Now she's got all-stars around her. They're going to spread the floor. They have a coach that was a broadcaster for ESPN during the NBA playoffs and is a lifelong coach. And, they're going to be open gym shooting all the time. And I know she's a bombs threes, logo threes, but she's a team player. And she knows that everyone's got to get fed. She has fancy passes, too. It's not just fancy three-point shots. I think her over-under for tomorrow is 9.5. I think that's a banger. I think eventually, if not the game 2, her prop's going to be 10.5 assists.
Oh, very good.
And Dallas had the worst defense in the league, by the way, last year. And so I would definitely play over 9.5 tomorrow. But she's going to have doubled. She had 8 and 9 assists with a bad supporting cast or a mediocre supporting cast. Yeah. And so she has a bunch of shooters around her. I think she'll get this by the All-Star break. Like, I don't understand.
Wow, okay. I love that analysis.
I think she's minus 400 to lead the league in assists. So you're saying the odds maker just saying she's going to have 8 and 9 and not 10 and 11? I'll go with the over here with that kind of offense.
Okay, so have you seen a season-long assist prop? Like, will she average 9.5 assists on the year?
Yeah, they have those over. I actually like her points prop under 21.8 because I think she might sit some fourth quarters and blowouts, which might hurt the assist. But I just think she's going to be driving the paint, beating her opponent off the dribble. And she was awesome last year. Let's not forget, it's just not just a name. This isn't Anna Kournikova sort of moving the popularity needle. She is finished 4th last year as a rookie in the MVP voting. She was first team all WNBA. Rookie of the year, almost unanimous except for 1 vote. And then she trained her tail off in the offseason. She is one of the league's best players. Maybe she's the best. I haven't seen her really, you can't really tell from preseason. Maybe she's going to take that giant leap. People doubted her. Remember like a year ago, they're, just wait till she gets to professionals. I'm like, what, are you going to defend a logo 3? I mean, she's so much better than everyone. And she has a lot of sort of flair driving to the hoop and then throwing bounce passes for layups. I think she's going to rack up assists.
Could be a lot like Joker where that double-double's in the bag by early third quarter.
It's going to be, she's going to go like 19 and 12 like every game.
Okay. What do you expect out of the Aces? I
like them over 30.5. I think, look, Becky Hammon last year said that it was a little much last year. They had back-to-back titles. They were in commercials, a lot of hoopla. The league was taking the next step. Compounded. Kelsey Plum had a very public divorce. It was just, and they got they had the bullseye treatment. Everyone was giving them their best shot, right? And then Chelsea Gray was hurt like the entire season and finally got healthy, but just things weren't right. Again, it's hard to three-peat, right? I think they have a hard reset. They traded Kelsey Plum, clean slate for her in L.A., but they bring in Jewel Lloyd, who was a traffic cone defensively. I think Hammond will help her and fit into this. Now, they lose Clark to Seattle, but they have enough pieces. I think the coaching and Asia Wilson, who's probably still the best player in the league, is going to be enough for 31 and 13.
Okay. How about Chicago?
It's fascinating. My WNBA betting partner thinks they're going to be really good. He thinks Cardoso took a giant leap forward in the offseason. I think they're terrible without Kennedy Carter last year. Now, they've had some other pieces moving. They were inept offensively. I think Angel Reese obviously has a low ceiling in terms of offense. I don't buy it. They bring in Vandersloot, who's definitely a traffic cone on defense, but she has leadership and great passing. But I don't know. There's just limitations there. And there's really the top 7 playoff spots are all but like locked in. So it really that 8th and final playoff spot is up for 3 teams, the Sky, the Sparks, or the Dallas Wings. I think the Sparks get there, but they got to start strong until Brink gets back. And who knows? They have a new coach and everything. So maybe the Sky are that good and you can go 8 games under 500 and still make the playoffs. So you can go under your win total and still make the playoffs. I just wouldn't want to. I lean Sparks, but they're like a minus $150. So I think that's who gets there. But there's some issues. I don't think Chicago's very good at all. Carter was awesome last year. And so missing that, they're going to have to figure it out.
All right. Power rate the top 3 teams in the league.
By the end of the season, I really think the Fever will be 1, if not Liberty. So it's like 1A, 1B, and then I think the Lynx are going to be the 3rd. We all want to think the Lynx are going to be like the Spurs did when they lost on the Ray Allen shot. Next year, came back and won the title. There's no guarantee of that. The situation was right because the Aces were down last year. The Fever weren't there yet. So it was a good opportunity for the Lynx, and they have baby Jokic and Nafisa Collier and the surrounding that with shooters. Now there's like 4, maybe 5 legitimate threats. So I'm not convinced the Lynx get there, but they're certainly right there.
10 seconds here. You like a baseball prop tonight with Aaron Judge, yeah?
He played the Mets last year, and the Mets walked him 4 times. His walk at bat juice over a half was -110 all season up until that. It was like the 100th game of the year. Mets walked him 4 times because Soto was batting in front of him and went 0 for 4, something like that. So they walked him every time. And then his juice on that prop went to -200 after that. So who's surrounding Judge in front of him now? It's like Bellinger, Grisham, Rice. Yeah, I would do over -160.
Very good.
That was
awesome
longer than
analysis.
10 seconds.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria Bets coming up next.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.